The Boston Celtics. Anything is possible, and it's happened again. For the first time since 2008, and only the second time since 1986, the Celtics are the world champs. For the 18th total time, by the way, even if most of those were before the collapse of the USSR. It's been a long time coming, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown finally broke through to win a chip, knocking off Luka and the Mavs in 5 games. Simply put, it was a dominant season the whole way through. The Celtics rarely lost in the regular season and rarely lost in the playoffs. Boston ran through the competition from start to finish and got to cap it off with a very well-deserved win. It'll be a season to be remembered forever in Boston, for a lot of different reasons. The Celtics were truly the best team in basketball from start to finish this season. It really was an absolutely dominant season. Boston went 5-0 to kick off the season and were 26-6 by the time the calendar year ended. At the actual halfway point of the season, the Celtics were 32-9 and went on to be the first team to make the playoffs, clinching on March 14th after a win over the Suns that made them 52-14. Boston finished the season 64-18 as the clear best team in basketball. Second closest to them was the Thunder and Nuggets with 57 wins, 7 less than the Celtics, and the second best in the East was the Knicks with 50 wins. 14 less than the Celtics. It was a purely dominant season, and that led to a lot of high expectations for the postseason. Expectations that the Celtics would absolutely crush. They didn't just run through the playoffs to win the championship. Nobody could beat them more than once, and the Pacers couldn't even do it once. In the first round of the playoffs, the Celtics had to face off against the Miami Heat, and they had to exercise some demons there. Boston lost to the Heat in last year's Eastern Conference Finals in Game 7 after coming back from down 3-0 in the series. They also lost to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals back in 2020 in the bubble too. So it was pretty nice to beat them this time around. The Celtics then beat the Cavs in 5 the next series, and that was a team that Brad Stevens as a head coach just had absolute fits with. Boston got swept by them in 2015 and lost in both 2017 and 2018 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, we are talking about the LeBron era, but nonetheless, it was nice to beat Cleveland. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston swept the hot Tyrese Halliburton-led Pacers. There were actually some really good games that came down to the wire, but the Pacers just couldn't close. Kinda like me at the bar. Then, obviously, you have the finals. The Mavs could only get one against this dominant Celtics squad. Boston rolled through the first 3 games to go up 3-0, but Dallas had a big 38-point win in Game 4. Regardless, the Celtics just came right back and won in Game 5. It was just an absolutely dominant playoff run in every way. The Celtics were incredible all season long, in the regular season and in the postseason. And now they finally broke through in the Tatum Brown era, and a lot of it comes down to those two and the rest of the roster. You really can't say enough good things about Jason Tatum. He just finished his age 25 season and was again simply great. He led the C's with 26.9 points per game and rebounds with 8.1. He was also named first team All-NBA for the 3rd straight year. It's simple. In the regular season, he was the best player on the league's best team. In the playoffs, he averaged 25 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists. He was good, but wasn't even the Eastern Conference Finals MVP or Finals MVP. That would be Jaylen Brown. In the playoffs, he had 23.9 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 3.3 assists. It really felt like he was just hitting all the big shots, especially late in games. He ended up winning both Finals MVP and Eastern Conference Finals MVP. It was just a great run for him in the playoffs, and he's coming off of his 3rd All-Star selection. There's no doubt that those two are the most important pieces on the Celtics, and that's where a lot of credit goes to Boston. Those are 2 drafted guys, back-to-back years, 3rd overall. In 2016, the Celtics took Jaylen Brown in that draft, where the 76ers took Ben Simmons. Then, a year later, the Sixers took Markelle Fultz first, and the C's landed Tatum at 3. Those are the 2 biggest decisions for the C's. But then the other decisions, specifically made by Brad Stevens, have been absolutely incredible. Stevens was the head coach for a while and recently became the president of basketball operations in 2021. And let me say this, it's paid off huge. He just won NBA Exec of the Year, and it's well deserved. He built this team into what it is by trading for some big difference makers in Drew Holiday, Derek White, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis. Holiday was traded before the season in that big three-team deal that involved Damian Lillard going to the Bucks. Holiday went to the Trailblazers in the deal, and then 4 days later, he was flipped to the Celtics for Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and 2 firsts. He also just got a massive 4-year, $135 million deal in April. So now it looks like he's gonna be around for the long haul too. He's a long time NBA vet at this point. It was huge for Boston this year, with 12.5 points, 6.4 assists, and 4.2 rebounds per game during the regular season. Then there's Derek White, who you really just can't say enough good things about. That dude is somehow a block machine despite only being 6'4". He was traded in 2022 to the Celtics and played in 26 games with them that season after coming over from San Antonio. Then in the 2022-23 season, he played in every game for the Celtics. And last season, he actually played a career-high 32.6 minutes per game. He averaged 15.2 points, 5.2 assists, and 4.2 rebounds. He's been such an integral part of the Celtics for a while now. Finally, you have Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis was great this season when he was on the floor. He was in that 3-team deal last season when the Celtics sent Marcus Smart to Memphis. Porzingis was coming off of a good season with the Wizards, who somehow got him to play in 65 games on the season, the most he'd play in a season in a half-decade. Now, that did go down to 57 last year, but he was good when he was playing. He averaged 20.1 points and 7.2 rebounds. Then, he really didn't play too much in the playoffs at all, and unfortunately, that's just what he is at this point in his career. That meant that the Celtics needed another good big man option, and that's exactly what Al Horford was. So he was traded in that deal that sent Kemba Walker to the Thunder. Of course, if you know, Horford has already spent 3 seasons in Boston before that, and just essentially took a 2-year hiatus. Then he returned in 2021. He ended up starting in 33 games last season, averaging 8.6 points and 6.4 rebounds. He wasn't necessarily a huge difference maker all the time, but man did the Celtics need him when Porzingis was out with injuries. And frankly, it feels like everyone's happy that he finally got his chance and was able to win a ring. Then a few other names on the roster that are at least worth mentioning: Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard. Hauser actually averaged 9 points per game on 22 minutes, and he had a good bit of starts too. Then Peyton Pritchard averaged 9.6 points per game on 22.3 minutes. Fun fact, he's actually the only guy on the team that played in all 82 games. Hauser ended up playing in 79, and nobody else missed less than 8 games in the regular season. You really have to give a lot of credit to Joe Mazzulla too, who's just been a fantastic coach for the Celtics. He got the job in a very hectic, weird way, but he's turned it into something special. He had only been a head coach at Fairmont State, a Division II school in West Virginia. In 2019, Mazzulla interviewed for the head coaching job of the Utah Jazz, but didn't get it. So he ended up joining on as an assistant coach for the Celtics. He started his time in Boston under Brad Stevens, but eventually it was Ime Udoka running the show. Then Ime had an affair with the Celtics staff member and was suspended for violating team policies. So Mazzulla was promoted to the interim head coach just days before training camp, and it actually went pretty great. Boston was 42-17 at the All-Star break, making them the best team in the league. So Boston decided to strip the interim title and give him a contract extension too. In year 1, he took the C's to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then it only took 1 more year to win a title. He's been just an incredible leader and coach, despite being only 35 years old. It really wasn't that long ago that he was upsetting Kentucky on his way to helping West Virginia to the Final Four in 2010. He was a good college player and was able to learn a lot about what it means to be a head coach. Of course, it does certainly help that he played for John Beilein and Bob Huggins. Now he's carrying on his own legacy, cementing himself in history alongside Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum after bringing another ring back to Boston.